Welcome back to a brand new video. In this video we're going to be working on cleaning my Corsair Strafe RGB keyboard Gen 1. As you can see, it's pretty disgusting. All of this gunk and grease is built up over many years. There's a lot of cleaning that needs to be done and it's an overdue task, so I say let's get started. The materials that you're going to need for this project are a screwdriver kit. This iFixit screwdriver kit has a flathead and Phillips screwdriver, a keycap puller. This one's 3D printed, a nice microfiber cloth that's clean, a toothbrush. This one's just a cheapy disposable one. Denture tablets. I have 4 of them. You're probably going to want more. They're going to go in this wash tub. Q-tips. Compressed air. I use these cans. They work great. This tub, which we're going to put water into, and the tablets. And isopropyl alcohol or something similar. In this case, I have a gallon of 99%. The first step is to remove the keycaps. You can use the keycap puller or your fingers. I like to work from the outside in and grab things like the arrow keys and the function keys first, just because they're easy to grab. Then when I get to the main body, I start to grab the outside keys and work my way in, so I have the more sides of the keys to grab onto and makes it easier. I don't really actually use the keycap puller, but it's a fun thing to have and a nice tool and accessory. Now that we've removed the keycaps, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the can of compressed air and blow off any particles I can, really making sure to get every single inch of the keyboard sprayed down. But when we spray it down, we do not want to get any particles inside the cracks and openings on the keyboard. So I just spray it down, make sure I get everything off. And now that I've blown everything off, we're going to flip the keyboard over and start the disassembly. Now that it's flipped over, we're going to be moving screws from here, 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 and here. I use a size 1 Phillips screwdriver. And let's get started. I'll come back when all the screws are removed. I almost forgot. We do have to remove 2 screws that are under the rubber feet on the keyboard. This is done by just scraping off the little rubber feet and then unscrewing the screw from underneath. They have a bit of adhesive on them that comes off pretty easily and can be put back on later. Now that that's done, we're going to flip the keyboard over after putting the rubber foot back on. And we're going to remove the 2 membrane switches in the top right hand corner. These come out pretty easily, just have to sort of grab them and pick under them. They pop right out. Make sure not to lose these. And then we can get started on disassembly by removing the tabs and popping off the front plate. To remove the front plate, I slid my pry tool underneath the front and pushed up on all of those clips, and I'm now starting on the back. It's a bit difficult and requires a bit of force. I'm using the iFixit pry tool, but you could use a flathead screwdriver. Just be careful not to mar it. And you just push in on these clips and they release as you go down. Now that we've popped off all of the clips on the front panel, we can easily just remove the front piece. This is a look at the inside. You can see all of the clips in the bottom and top pieces where it was connected and the screw posts. It's pretty cool to look at. I just like looking at these things. Manufacturing is pretty cool. So now that the top's off, we can get started on cleaning. We can see how disgusting this white board already looks, and we're trying to make it look much better than it is. It's going to be a process, but let's get to it. Before we get going on cleaning, one thing we should do is we should add the denture tablets to the water and get the keycaps cleaned. To do this, we're just going to open up these denture tablets, drop some in. I started with 1, but ended up adding in all 4, and we're going to go fill it up with water. Now that we have them soaking in the denture tablets, we can just let them sit, give them a little stir every now and then, shake them around, and the water looks green right now, but that's just the tablets doing their thing. I think it's going to turn out clear at the end, and it's going to be great. It'll come out nice and clean. To start the cleaning process, what I like to do is I like to pour some isopropyl alcohol into the cap of the bottle that I use as a reservoir to fill up my Q-tips. I'm terrible at pouring, so I just spilled all over the table. Watch me do it again right here. It's pretty enjoyable to watch. The nice thing about isopropyl is it doesn't damage electronics and it evaporates really quickly, and I can just throw it in the rag that we're going to use to clean parts off later, so it doesn't really matter. Now that I cleaned all of that up, we have our isopropyl alcohol, and we can start using the Q-tips. So I just grabbed one to start, and you just dunk it in the cap. It gets moist, and you bring it up to the keyboard, and you just start scrubbing. I like to start with one side wet and the other side dry, so once I have wiped down the section and scrubbed it down, I can go and I can take the other side, flip it around, also wet it, and then do a second pass to make sure I have all of the gunk debris up. It's a pretty nice solution. I'm grabbing just a little bit inside the board at the bottom because that's where a lot of the dust ends up falling, and cleaning that out, make sure the bottom edge is nice and clean. If you happen to get too much isopropyl, you can spray off the keyboard and it'll dry it out pretty quickly. I also am just blowing out the extra garbage that I found in the bottom shell housing of the keyboard. There was a lot in there, just had fallen through over time. And I'm just going to start repeating this process until I get the keyboard clean. I'll come back when that's done. Here's a close-up of what I was actually doing. So I grab a Q-tip, dunk it in the water, and we can see in between these keys there's a lot of just dust, dirt, and other little grimy things. I just move them back and forth as quick as I can, and because these keys have a weird shape, it kind of already stops the Q-tip, and then I just go and I choose a different section, flip it over with the dry side, make sure to get all of the loosened dust and debris up, and now it's clean. I'm going to repeat this step for the whole entire keyboard, and we have cleaned the whole entire keyboard. Everything is now pretty much spotless. There is still a tiny bit of dust and dirt that was hard to get out, and we probably won't be getting out, and a few scratches and scuffs, but otherwise, we now have a clean keyboard. And we have to focus on the wrist rest, faceplate, and the back plate of the keyboard. So let's clean up our workspace and get started. Now that the workspace is set up, we can take the toothbrush, we can wet an isopropyl alcohol, and start scrubbing. As you can see, we instantly have the dust and dirt start to disappear, and I did this through some pretty light pressure. I definitely made sure to get the bristles in, but I did not want to press too hard to make the rubber coating disappear, which would not be good for the keyboard. I'm just starting with a pretty small area to start, and every now and then I'm going to add some new isopropyl to the board. As you can see, it makes it hard to see what we're doing, so I'm going to take the cloth and I'm going to start to dry off the surface we're just working on. And now that it's started to dry a bit, we can see that there's still definitely dirt and dust there, but we can go back and do multiple passes to make sure we get everything off. So I'm going to do the whole entire keyboard, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. Now we have a clean palm rest. It looks amazing, hundreds of times better than it was looking before. And as you can see, I did scrub a tiny bit too hard and the rubber coating is coming off, but that's not dirt, so I'm happy with it. It's a good result for what we have. Now we can get started on the faceplate, which is going to be the exact same process. We're going to take the toothbrush and we're going to be cleaning up the rest of the surface. So I just start with a nice pressure. I started the Corsair logo because I thought it looked cool. And as you can see, stuff starts to go away pretty quickly. And we're going to do the exact same process, scrub it down. We're going to take the towel and we're going to dry it off to make sure we got everything, and go over it with a few passes and see what our result looks like. As you can see, it didn't come off great the first time, but as we go and we try more dirty areas like the area above the arrow key, we're going to have some great results. I'll come back when that is done. As you can see, now our keyboard's clean, there's no more dirt or smudges on it, and we can put the faceplate back on our keyboard. This is going to be done through a light pressure, but because it's so complicated, I can't do it and show you. It takes two hands. I just put a light pressure on all the corners and everything just kind of snapped back together. Now that everything's back together, we can start to assemble the keycaps. These membrane keycaps are kind of finicky. You want to make sure you get them in the right location. The Windows key goes on the outside and the light key goes on the inside. Make sure that you have the largest face on the side facing towards the Corsair logo so that you don't put them in upside down. Otherwise, you kind of just align the four legs and snap right in. It's not too difficult of a process, but you don't want to break any of the legs. Now that we have put those keys back on the keyboard, I flip the keyboard over and we're going to remove those rubber feet again so we can put the screws back in. This process isn't too inherently difficult, and we just want to make sure we put these screws back in and all other screws back in. It's going to be pretty important, and then we can clean the back plate. To clean the back plate, we did the exact same thing that we did before, which is toothbrush, towel and just a bit of scrubbing, and everything will come right off. Now that that is done, we can put the rubber feet back on the keyboard, and we can make sure that we have all the screws in and make sure that we are fully assembled, because right now the assembly and housing of this keyboard is all back together, and all that is left is for us to put those keycaps back on. As you can see, when I'm tightening screws down, I make sure to tighten it to its tight, but I don't want to over tighten them and strip the threads out because they are plastic. We make sure that the rubber feet, which have these tapers, are aligned properly in the holes, and we don't want to make sure that any of them are sticking out or in the improper place. They go right back on with the original adhesive, nothing required. Pretty simple process, they're all the exact same, don't have to worry about mixing and matching shapes or sizes or sides. Now I just dropped it, but we can flip it back over and we can start adding our keys. What I've done is cleared out a space with a microfiber towel, and I'm going to put all my keys on it. What I did with these keys is I took them to the sink, dumped them in the sink with a drain plug, then rinsed them off with water. And now that they are just covered in water, I'm going to put this on the towel. I'm going to let them dry for about an hour and then come back and reassemble them on the keyboard. It should be pretty nice. They came out really clean. They had a ton of gunk on them, and now they're completely clean. So now all we have to do is just let them dry so we don't get our keyboard wet, and we can reassemble and have our working keyboard. We're back. We have all our keys. They're all dry, and we can start adding our keyboard. So let's get started. We got our spacebar going on first. Now we are just adding all the keys to the keyboard, and you're done. I'm going to take this keyboard, I'm going to put it right back on my desk and use it like I always did. This is my first video I've ever put on YouTube. I know that there's a lot to learn. This is my first real editing project for a video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be sure to answer any questions you guys have in the comments. This is for a Corsair Strafe RGB Mark 1, if anyone's wondering. I'm going to be posting hopefully some content about 3D printing, product design, and other things like that. I hope you enjoyed. Like if you liked it, comment if you have any questions or suggestions. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.